Hello and welcome to this brand new series of videos, and these are all going to be about the Teenage Engineering EP-1320 Medieval. On the top there it says Instrumentalis Electronicum, and when the Teenage Engineering EP-1320 Medieval was released in August 2024, I was intrigued, as apart from being into synths and samplers etc, I also play lots of folk instruments like squeeze boxes, whistles, mandolins etc. I thought that this would be a great way to fuse those two musical worlds together. I actually bought a used example in May of this year, 2025, and paid just under £200, which is an incredible bargain when you consider what this thing actually does. So what about this name then? Well, the medieval period is roughly from the 5th century to the 15th century, so about 1,000 years. And so the year 1320 certainly falls in that time period, if that was the idea behind the name. I don't know if it was. Now, the year before, obviously we had the EP-1320 Knockout, which is what this instrument is based upon, but this is just a medieval slant on that with a few quirks and a few differences. So what is this thing? Well, it's a sampler and it's a sequencer with 220 built-in samples which take up 96 megabytes, which you can't erase, but you have space for your own samples, and that space is just 32 megabytes. The built-in samples comprise lots of ancient and more modern instruments, sound effects and voices which can be edited. You can bring in your own samples from a computer or record them using the mic which is provided, or by using the line in. So the 1320 is, as you can see, aesthetically very pleasing with its brown livery and an amazing display which has a bewildering amount of icons which all mean something. I'll provide you with a cheat sheet so that you will understand what the icons represent. The 1320 has got limited effects like echo, reverb, chorus, filter, that kind of thing, and the buttons, despite what some people have told you, don't smell of chocolate. It looks a bit like a giant medieval calculator, and the controls are all labelled in a kind of faux Latin language, and I will be providing translations in this tutorial so that you understand what all these mean. But if you've got the KO2, the EP-133, which came before this, just look at the labels on that and you'll get an instant translation pretty much. It comes with an online manual which is rather wittily written with a sprinkling of tap ifs and lines and record ifs and such like. Quite witty, quite funny, but it does wear a bit thin once you start getting into it as you try and figure out what it all means. It's 7 inches wide and it's 9.5 inches high, and it's ½ an inch in height. So it's a bit like a pocket operator on steroids, with an emphasis on having fun. One caveat I would mention is that the KO2, that's the one that came before this, has had lots of updates with quality of life features which the Medieval has yet to enjoy as of the time of making this video, which is October 2025. And I really hope Teenage Engineering address this very soon. So let's have a look at these labels, because they're a bit weird, aren't they? So summer, that's the output. Initus is the input. Sync and MIDI, that's straightforward. Data is the USB in and out. Ignito, which you may be able to see there, is the on button, ignition if you like. And then coming down here we've got magnitudo, which is volume. When you see two labels for a button, one on the top, one beneath, the one beneath works with the altero button, which is the shift button. So sonus, sound, edito, edit works with the altero, the shift. Okay, so manus is main, committo is commit, tempus is tempo, and necto is loop. Then coming across we've got two encoders which are not endless, they do come to a stop. We've got this one which is coloured kind of orangey red, it's called pulsus, and that is the BPM. And on the side there, you may not be able to see it, but it says Augio, which is gain. Okay, and it's also labelled X, this encoder. And the one next to it, coloured brown, is metrum, which is metronome. On the side here it says swingus, which is swing, and it's also labelled with a Y. Coming over to the left hand side again, claves is keys, which turns these brown pads into a keyboard which you can actually play. We have fader, which is how you assign things to this fader, which was very problematic on the original version, the KO2, EP-1320, lots of problems with that, but I'm happy to report it's fine on this. Okay, we've dealt with Altero, the shift, and then we have Demos, which is the demo button, which I don't think you got that on the original machine. When you press this, you get taken into the demos. I'll show you one of those in a moment. That also works with the Altero button to give you exempt, which is the chop and slice function. Quantum and correctus. Quantum is timing, correctus is timing correct, and that's obviously working with the Altero, the shift. Pocus is effects, as in hocus pocus, I suppose. Summer, this is to do with the master compressor, I think. Then we have a very important button, the errado, which is erase, and with the shift it's sistema, which is the system. Then we have this button down here, which is labelled on this bottom right brown pad, intra, which is enter. Codex is a red button, so you guessed it, that's record, and fabula is play. Then we've got some labels on these brown pads which are kind of, I don't know what that colour is, but dark obviously, and this is when you assign things to the fader. So top left, level is level, Moby is pitch, which is kind of pitch bend, Tractus is time stretch, second row, I don't know how you pronounce this, Ater is the low pass filter, Clarus is the high pass filter, Pocus is where we assign effects to the fader. Down here, Initi, attack, Fini or Finis is release, probably Finis if it's Latin, Panum is pan, fairly obviously, Tonus is tuning, so tonus and Moby are similar, but tonus is in semitones. Velix is velocity and Mobus is modulation. And those are all the labels. Okay, and you soon get used to it, and like I say, it is meant to be witty, meant to be a bit of a joke, but it can be a bit of a pain when you're starting off. Now, if you want to get an idea of what this thing is all about, try first playing the 9 demo songs. Press Demos and one of the pads, 1 to 9, and you will hear those demos. These demo songs can't be erased, but you can do some basic editing which can't be saved. I recommend playing the demos through first of all without sort of messing about with them, and then come back to them when you know your way around the device so you can have some more fun with them. So if I play you 9, this is lovely, this one. And press Fabula to stop. I won't waste your time by going through these. You can do this yourself if you've got this machine. And yeah, some of them are pretty wild and wacky, some of them are beautiful. There are lots of really lovely high quality samples in this machine, and yeah, some of them are crazy, like people's heads being chopped off and rolling away. But as you can hear in that particular demo, there are some really beautiful sounds which you can use. You can get to and put in your own songs, of course. So I'm just going to turn this off for a minute. Now, here's a good thing to get in the habit of doing. If you don't want anything altered on your 1320, if you hold down the Manus or main button while you're switching it on, you'll see what happens. Lock. You saw that briefly. That means this is locked, so whatever you do, you won't lose what's in this machine. So you can muck around with this. So if you're giving this to your young child to mess around with, they can't overwrite anything you've done in it, so it's not a bad thing to do. So at the top of the file hierarchy is project, and you can have 9 projects which are stored on these 9 brown pads, not these bottom 3, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And the way you get to a project is you hold Manus and the pad of that project. So if I hold 9, see P9 came up and P9 is empty, so That's a really good one to use today to show you how to use this machine. Now, projects can be backed up to a computer for later retrieval using the TE Sample Tool app, and I'll show you more of that later. It's an absolutely brilliant thing which you won't be able to live without once you've seen it. So if I press Manus, the 9 flashes, so I know I'm on project 9, and it says S01, which is scene 1, and I'll explain that in a moment. Each of the 4 groups, A, B, C and D, can have up to 12 samples, 12 sounds assigned to them. So you have 12 for A, 12 for B, 12 for C, 12 for D. So that's 48 samples in all, and that's for the entire project. Okay, so you can't have more than that, only 48, although that's plenty, isn't it, I think. And those samples are anything from single bass drum hits to long complicated flute phrases, trumpet phrases, sound effects and so on. So like I say, those samples are set for the whole project throughout all the scenes. I know I keep saying this, but I will explain a scene to you in a moment. Now, each group can contain up to 99 patterns, and each of these patterns can be up to 99 bars long. So if I hold A down and press the plus button down here, you can see it'll go all the way up to 99. I can have 99 patterns, so that's a while to get there, on Group A, Group B, Group C and Group D. Let's just take that back to 1. So that's a lot of patterns, isn't it? 99 for A, 99 for B, 99 for C, 99 for D, and each pattern can be 99 bars long. Now, the 99 patterns can be arranged into 99 scenes, and this is a bit confusing. I got a bit lost with this when I was learning it, but I do understand it now. So a scene, if I hold Manus here, scene 1 here, scene 01, this is an arrangement of whichever pattern is being played on each of the 4 groups. Let's say, for sake of argument, I've got pattern 1 on Group A. On Group B, I've got pattern 2. Group C, I've got, I don't know, pattern 4. And Group D, I've got pattern 7. So 1, 2, 4, 7. Now if I hold Manus, scene 1 is that arrangement of patterns, you see? And so scene 2 could be a completely different arrangement of patterns. Sadly, at the time of doing this video, there is no song mode on this, which is a bit crazy, so you've got to manually change the scenes as you go through. And you can set it so it changes at the end of a bar, but it's still a bit of a pain. I'm really hoping they implement this song function for this machine. Teenage Engineering, I hope you're listening and you do something about this. It's beautifully laid out and it's lovely to use. The buttons have a very satisfying click to them. I love these ornate A, B, C and D letters here. Now, to go to different patterns, you can press the group, like I say, scroll through, or you can hold the group button down and tap in the pattern you want. Now, I can't get to any more scenes because I haven't created any more yet, and you don't create those how you would expect is a little bit of a strange thing. And again, I'm going to say it, I'll show you that in a while. But if you have more than one scene, you can hold this down and you can tap a number in and it will come up. So at the moment, this is completely empty. There are no sounds, no samples loaded into this. This is not a synthesizer, you understand. It works completely from samples, sounds that you trigger from the pads. So if I press the Sonus button, sound, notice it says Manus in the display at the moment because I pressed Manus, the main button yet. Also notice there's a star here. That means that this is empty. Pattern A1 is empty. So if I press Sonus, now it says Sonus there, sound, and we've got 3 lines here showing us that this has nothing in it at all. None of these pads have got a sound. So let's use this bottom left one, press that first of all. And there's a few ways of getting sounds into this. I could simply press the plus button. Now that's brought up this sound. Now it's a bit quiet, just going to turn this up a little bit. So how do I know what that sound is? Well, if I press and hold it, it scrolls across battle kick. Show you that again. Press and hold, battle kick. And it's sound number 1. Okay, so if I wanted to change the sound, I simply press the plus button, so it's gone to sound 2, press and hold, and it says medium evil kick, I think I said. Okay, so let's go back to 1, that's fine. So there are 220 built-in samples which you can't alter. So yes, you could just go through them like this, which is a bit of a pain. Or if you know the number of the sample you want, you hold sonus, and supposing you want 101, and that's gone in, and that's that flute phrase. And you can trim that down so you get just the first note of that if you want to just use that sound rather than having to use that phrase. Let's take that back to 1, so we're back to our original sound. You can go up in tens if you hold altero, the shift button, and it goes up in tens, and then you can go in ones from there, backwards and forwards. And obviously you can just hold the button down, scroll through it though. It can be a bit noisy, so I would recommend holding sonus and 1 to get back to 1. Now, a far more elegant way of loading samples is by using the sample tool via your computer. So what you need to do here is to go to the Teenage Engineering website. You click on the guide for the EP-1320, and it looks like this. Go to the top here, you see there's all these instructions. If you go to section 11.2, sample tool, to transfer audio files to use as samples to and from a computer, use the file transfer tool. So if I scroll down, and the link is actually in capitals, if I click on this, watch what happens. All my sounds are loading. Okay, and you can see I've got Battle Kick 1 here. If I click this virtual button, you can hear, and you can see on my actual medieval that's sounding. The Group A button is flashing in the display. Yeah, so if I click any of these in the list, they will sound. And there are tabs on the right hand side here. So I could go to this list here, play Jaw A, Jaws Harp, I think. And then we've got these rather beautiful instruments here, trumpet and solus, we've got these. And sonum, we've got these sound effects, pretty good. Sword scrape, I love it. Knife throw is nice. Where's the arrow hit? They're brilliant, aren't they? So funny. You can have so much fun with this. And of course you can record your own samples, which I will show you. And then in this tab here, you've got your own samples. So I've recorded a grand piano note here. I recorded a bass of my OPXY. Yeah, so there's a click. Let's go back to the percussion perks. Perks, phrasy, instrum, solus, sonum, and aperto is your own samples. And let's say, for sake of argument, that I wanted to put fair snare onto pad 0, this second pad along in group A. I just grab hold of the fair snare, drag it across, drop it on there, and now click that or press the button here, and that's in. And you can even see the waveform up here, which you can edit. I can drag the in point and the out point backwards and forwards to edit, to trim the sample up. So if I just trim the beginning of that, yeah, pretty impressive, isn't it? And using this software you can back up and restore everything in the machine, so it's a great way of getting more than 9 projects. So we've got a couple of samples on 2 pads. This isn't an app you have to download, by the way. It works on the web. So you simply go to the Teenage Engineering website, go to the EP-1320 guide, click on that link I showed you, and then you're in here. And if you click the back up and restore button, it takes you to this page, and yeah, it's very, very straightforward. It works really, really well. But obviously you do have to be connected to your computer with this USB-C lead which comes with it. Oh, one thing I didn't show you is where you've got Manus here on the actual device, if you click here on Pro, which is short for project, you can click one of these buttons to load in a project. If you clicked 5, that would load in project 5. Now, if you press and hold the pad and the name scrolls across the top, that's fine. If you press a button and nothing appears, nothing scrolls across the top, it's going to be a sample you've made which you haven't named yet, and you can name it in that software I showed you. With the Sonus menu up, I can change the volume of this sound by rotating this pulsus encoder. It says amp, and you get feedback as you rotate the encoder. Now the volume you hear when you rotate the encoder is not the same as the volume you hear when you press the pad. And you can also change the pitch with the brown encoder, the Metrum or white encoder. So again, so you don't need to press the pad, just turn the encoder. So I could make that really low pitch. If you want to get it back to its normal pitch, watch for the target. There it is. That target means that you've taken it back to its original pitch. This is very old school as things go at the moment, because as you lower the pitch, obviously the sample takes longer to play. But that's not the end of the story, as you'll see. Now if you want to change the velocity of the pads, press Altero, which is shift, and Errado, which is erase. And that takes you into the system menu. Sistema is underneath, you see. That works with the Altero. And you press the plus 3 times, 1, 2, 3. That takes you to the pad menu. Press Intra, which is the enter button. And you see velocity. Press Intra again, and you'll see that the velocity is set to low. And if I press minus, it's high, or off. So off means obviously that there'll be no velocity sensitivity on the pads, and obviously high will give you high sensitivity, and yeah, low sensitivity. So you can choose what you want. I mean, it's pretty amazing on a device which it cost me just under £200. I think they're about £300 new now, 299. That you've got velocity sensitive pads is pretty amazing, isn't it? We'll turn that off for the moment, and to lock that in, press Intra again, and then, like I said earlier, press Manus just to go back to kind of what I call home. By the way, that sensitivity is not that strong, by the way, so you have to really listen for it. Now, one really good thing is that there are lots of access codes for these things. I'm jumping ahead here, but I know for a fact that the velocity sensitivity, if you want it to be high, you simply press Altero and Errado and you tap in 301. Press Intra, high, see? Or Altero, you always have to go back, Altero and Sistema, and if you want off, it's 300. See? So tap in the number, press Intra, enter, and then that's that, and you have that code for lots of things. We'll come back to that, but it's really, really good thing that saves loads of menu diving. If you want to record your own samples with the mic, hold Altero and Demos, that's the demo button. This is Exempt, okay? And it's come up with mic. And we see a singing bird icon come up there. And all of the 12 pads flash. At the moment, if I press the plus button, monitoring's on now. That turns the monitoring on so you can actually hear it. If you come back with the minus button, that turns the monitoring off. Now the pulsus encoder sets the level of the recording, and there's a threshold you can set with the Metrum. So if you turn the threshold full on, obviously you're going to have to shout or sing or make noises enough for that to trigger. So I'll bring that down, bring the threshold down, THR threshold, and you can see the trumpet. That means it's going to record. So I've set that really high, and now that's not appearing. So I'll bring it back, and yes, I know that what I'm going to say is going to get recorded. So to actually make a recording, hold down a pad, speak into the mic. Now the mic lives here, Okay, sort of bottom left of this speaker grill. So I'll hold pad 1 down and I'll make a recording. Hello, press this pad again, hello, and that's come out, that's a sample, and that will be actually saved. If I go to Sonus and hello, but that is now in slot 230, up in the aperto section of the samples. So I've made my first sample. If I press the claves button, now this, I'll play all over those pads. And I think the original pitch sounds like what I did there. And obviously, you can have fun with that and record it, and I'll show you that later, but that's how you make a very simple sample. Now if you want to start the sampling process again, you simply press Alt-Zero, Shift and Demos, and then you're back in to your start menu for the sampling. You haven't lost your sample, that's like I've shown you, that's been stored. You then can make another one. Now if I want to make a sample to a specific sample number, if I hold Sonus and tap in the number I want, so supposing I want this to go on to slot 250, 250. Now when I make my recording, it will go onto that slot. Let's do another recording. Hello again. Hello again. Hello again. Hello again. Right. So if I go to Sonus. Hello again. It's on 250, you see, but my other one. Hello. That's on 230. So hello is on 230. Hello again. And hello again is on 250. And it jumps straight to it because there's nothing between 230 and 250 at the moment. And don't worry, you can erase all this silliness later. You're not stuck with samples, you can always get rid of them.